In this video, I'm telling you how to write your final year project so you can get an A+. I'll be breaking down the full structure of how to write your final year project. It's currently 2 o'clock in the midnight, so if I'm whispering, what's up on Billion Gang? I'm Divine, and in today's video, I'll be breaking down the full project structure. There are a lot of videos on YouTube on each project structure, abstracts, your literature review. I'm breaking everything down. You'll find different channels that have different series, but I want this to be just one video. If you have any question on how to pick your project topic, I already have a video where I shared that, but if you need more explanation, please tell me in the comment section. First page in your project topic is the front page. On the front page, you'll have the title of your project, your name, your matriculation number, your supervisor's name, your department, college, and your course of study, and the year you did that topic. The second page in your project is your certification. This is not really, you just have to copy and paste. I like what the copy and paste what people already did. Like, it's just a whole structure to certify that you embarked on this project research. In my department, we have our supervisor and our dean and HOD sign, but in some departments it could be only your supervisor and your external supervisor. The next part of your project is your dedication. Dedication is different from acknowledgement. Dedication is what inspired you to embark on your project. I dedicated my project to innocent souls that have been lost across the borders, and I also dedicated it to my country. And that's the mistake people don't know. Dedication is different from acknowledgement. Acknowledgement is acknowledging people that helped you during your project, or people who assisted you during your project, but your dedication is people who inspired you to embark on that project research. Your abstract is like, I don't know how many words this is. I'll put it when I'm editing. Your abstract is like a summary of what you did in your project, but you're not going to give your conclusion. You're going to summarize your background of the study and write what your objective is, whether you achieved your objectives. Then you're going to write like 4 or 3 keywords. The next part of your project is going to be your table of contents, which will include the page numbers of all the pages in your project and the chapters. Before your chapter 1 to 5, you're going to have your title page, usually in Roman numerals, to your abstract, but from your chapter 1, you start writing the pages in numbers. Chapter 1. The first chapter is your background of the study. The background of the study is what is the genesis, what is the beginning of the research, what is the main problem that led to the research, what you read before you start embarking on the research. It's also going to involve you stating your problem, why you want to embark on the research. You feel like nobody has answered this question and you want to embark on this project and research more about it, and what you want to solve that other people have not yet solved. Also going to have your objective. Your objective is just interpreting what your problem is. Now, for example, if my problem is that I don't know how to read, then my objective will be ways I can learn how to read, or how to start reading fast, or how to start reading for beginners. Your objective is just explaining your problem, your research questions. In project research, you are going to think of the questions that somebody who wants to embark on this research will ask. What you want to do in your research question is to rephrase your problem. Your research question could be only 1, or it could be only 2, or it could be 5 or 3, but I would just say you should stick to 1 to 3 questions, so you be specific and focused on what you're embarking on. Your statement of the problem is going to help you to structure your research questions, and your research question is going to help you to structure your objectives of the study. If you want to find a problem you're trying to solve, look at your project topic, look at the dependent variable. When you look at the dependent variable, compare to the independent variable and see why your dependent variable is depending on your independent variable. My project topic is Nigeria's border porosity and its implication on national security from 2015 to 2020. My independent variable is Nigeria's border porosity, and my dependent variable is implication on national security. I have to think of how my independent variable will help my dependent variable. So I can't find out the implications of national security without finding Nigeria's border porosity condition. The first research question is to find out the extent at which border porosity has threatened national security in Nigeria. National security is dependent on border porosity, and in order to find out more about national security, I have to read about border porosity. Do you understand? I'm going to summarize each chapter so you don't get confused. The objective of the study is just paraphrasing your research questions to be objective. The significance of the study. Significance is important. How important this research is. So you have to state why it is important to the society or to your department. Definition of key terms. You don't have to define everything inside your topic. You just have to pick the main things, the main keywords that you mention a lot in your project and explain them very well. Some keywords I picked were boundary, border, the difference between border and boundary. As you are embarking on each of your chapters, make sure you have a draft like this so you can show your project supervisor and they correct anything and tell you where you can modify your projects in any way. For each chapter, you have references to literatures, to newspapers, to publications, TV shows, or whatever you want information from for your project. Every chapter has a reference. Your reference is going to be in a.k.a. form. You're going to start with the name, the year, the title, and the pages and whatever. It's not usually in every department that after every chapter is a reference, but in my department, humanities, you should have your reference for every chapter. If you have any problem with chapter 1, please tell me. The first subsection in your chapter 2 is your conceptual review or your literature review, anyone you call it. The reason why you call it conceptual review is because of there is a main concept or a main keyword in your project that you're going to keep on repeating as you go through your research. And in my project, I was talking about border porosity, so I was constantly going to repeat border. This is going to be deeper than your chapter 1 because you're going to read more literature, you're going to give more examples. I'm going to talk about the challenges of that problem you're trying to solve. You should not directly copy and paste from Google Scholar. Don't copy directly from their website. What you should do is to paraphrase. If you have any problem paraphrasing, please tell me. But what you should do is when you paraphrase the sentences of the so-called writers of this different literature, also explains in your own layman language. Every chapter is going to be developing to the other. So chapter 1 is leading to chapter 2. Chapter 2 will lead to chapter 3. Chapter 3 and 2 will help chapter 4. Your chapter 3 is like, this part is the annoying part. This is when your projects start becoming tiring. Like if you think you have been tired from chapter 1 and chapter 2, you can do it. Let me tell you, you can do it. I got A, you can do it. You can get better. Your chapter 3 is your research methodology. And your research methodology simply means whatever method you are going to use to gain data. There are 2 ways that you can get data for your research. It could be primary, it could be secondary. If you are using both of them, it's called the eclectic theory. Primary data is when you are going in search of data or in search of information for your project through interaction with people directly or indirectly. For example, primary data could be you taking souvenirs. You taking questionnaires to people, asking them to fill up the questionnaires. It could be you directly interviewing people, or it could be you using an online souvenir that people will fill. While secondary data involves the use of publication like newspapers, TV shows, handouts, articles you see online, you read online. It will be a monument, something of ancient history that you found that you read about. In your research methodology, you should explain your research design, how you were able to calculate your data to assume or land on a conclusion, but you're not going to state your conclusion yet. You're just going to explain how you use this data to land on a conclusion. If you use primary data, you're going to mention the people you interviewed, questionnaire you did. If you use secondary data, mention the types of secondary data you use. Explain your sampling techniques. I'm going to get a formula. I'm going to leave a size where I use to calculate my sample size. If you're embarking on primary research, that's when you'll need a sampling technique. But if you're not embarking on primary research, you don't need a sampling technique. The sampling technique is, this is the amount of people I need to interview, or the amount of people you need to reach in order to conclude. I think it will be like 500 people or 1,000 people. Your sample size just tell you the amount of people you have to interview. So when you read them, you ask them these particular questions, and so percent of people agree with this, and so percent of people disagree with this. You need to specify your sample size if you embark on a primary data. I personally would advise that you use primary data, because primary data is more liable to push you in the forefront of getting an A than using secondary data. Your data instrument or instruments used to collect your data, your questionnaire allocation, how you shared your questionnaire or how you distributed your questionnaire if you are using primary data. But if you are not using primary data, this is not necessary. Testing the validity and reliability of your data instrument. So you have to explain how you were able to get feedback from your questionnaire or the people you interviewed, how valid those data that you were able to accumulate are. Your method of data analysis. By the time you have gotten your whole data and everything, you are going to mention how you now calculated your data to arrive at your conclusion. Your method of data analysis, how you analyzed your data that you have collected. Chapter 4 is the main part of your project. Like, this is the most important part of your project. Your chapter 4 is your data presentation, interpretation, and analysis. At the ending of chapter 3, you kept your method for data analysis, but you did not really explain what you've analyzed from your data. So this chapter is going to be where you analyze everything you've gotten from your data and how you can arrive at a conclusion and say, oh, this is connected. Just like solving a crime mystery. This is connected to this. These dots are connected. That's what your chapter 4 is. And you explain that very well. So you are going to have your introduction, which is going to be like a summary of your previous chapters. You're also going to have the analysis and results of your findings. So you're going to state your objectives again in chapter 4 and how all those research work, all those primary data, secondary data things, all those research you went on, how you were able to get findings. Remember the formula you mentioned in chapter 3, method you are going to use to calculate your analysis of all the data you've gotten. That same formula, you are now going to use it in chapter 4. Analyze all your questionnaire, your interview, all the things you stated in your questionnaire. You're just going to calculate them now using that formula. If you have any questions on how to structure your questionnaire, please tell me in the comment section. I'll answer you in the comment section. All the things that you have now analyzed, all the things that you had in your questionnaire, you will now discuss them and how it relates to your project. So basically, it's just going to be the summary of the whole mathematical equation in words. So you're now going to transcribe all the mathematical equation you had from all the data you collected to words and discuss them. So when you've done this, you're going to go back to your research questions and you're going to analyze how your so-called findings or data that you accumulated, that you have presented for us in this chapter. You're now going to describe how your data relates to your research questions. You understand? But you are not going to conclude. You are not yet going to conclude. You are just going to summarize it. Your chapter 5 finally is where you are going to conclude. You are going to state your research questions. You are going to summarize what you have done from chapter 1 to chapter 4. Your conclusion is not meant to be long, like the end of your research, what you got, what you can finalize. So let's say you have 3 research questions. 2 of the questions can get just one conclusion. But I have to do this video, like, no matter what. Explain the places you've gone to, explain what you could draw. Just summarize each question, what you feel the solution should be, or what should be done, or recommendations for people who want to embark on this type of research again. The next thing you're going to do is to attach your appendix. Your appendix is just the original copy of your questionnaire. Attach it to your project. So you're going to type it again to your project. So it's going to be after your references. And when you have your appendix behind, you're now going to have your references. Your reference is going to have all the references from chapter 1 to chapter 5 in alphabetical order. You're just going to accumulate all of them, align them alphabetically at the end of your project. Our references were a lot, so accumulating all of them together made it even bigger. If there's anything I did not say, please leave it in the comment section to help anybody. Please like the video physically, not just emotionally. That's not just all I did to get an A. I became so close to my supervisor. I did other things which I already mentioned in this video. So make sure you check this video out. Make sure you check other people's projects. If you still have problem picking project topics, please tell me.